Hello, my name is Zafri, and the topic of my thesis is understanding the significance of timber culture in Malaysia and its utilization in contemporary architecture. Malaysia is a tropical country with 62% of its land area covered in biodiverse forests, filled with 2,650 known tree species and more yet to be discovered. The country is dominated by hardwood, and as such, the traditional structures uses hardwood for their construction. Hardwoods are slow-growing trees that are generally more durable and weather-resistant than softwood, but are also heavier and more expensive to process. Based on studies, the earliest structure was built by tying branches of trees and laid against each other and would evolve into the traditional Malay structures, such as the traditional house, palace, and mosque. Similar characteristics can be seen between them, such as the hierarchy of space, the structures of post and beam, and use of local hardwood timber in the area. This became the culture and heritage of Malays, but through external influences, the culture would be lost. Loss of identity can be attributed to acculturation, assimilation, and modernization. The colonial period introduced colonial architecture, which had displaced the Malays' identity. Internationalism further solidifies the loss of culture, and this has left the traditional architecture values neglected. One of the main issues to this is the low public awareness of our timber culture and identity. Previously, timber culture can be seen in the architecture, but not anymore, which begs the question, what is our architecture identity? Case in point would be Taylor's University Lakeside campus, where the institution's design adopts a heavy use of concrete and glass but lacks the contextual identity. Opposed to this is the Mactan Cebu Airport in Philippines, where the approach to the design is heavily influenced by its surrounding context, reminiscent of the tropical houses and the undulating waves of its sea. Continuing on the importance of timber, not only is it our national resource, it is also a renewable source of material that is potentially infinite provided that the harvesting and replanting is properly managed. Timber is also important as it is part of our culture, but in my opinion it should also be part of our identity. Having realized this, there is a challenge that even for those who have discovered the value of timber, they would abuse it by over-harvesting and illegal logging. Due to these lack of awarenesses, there is a need for a center to constantly educate not just the industry on ethics and sustainability, but also the younger generations who would be championing sustainable efforts in the future. Bringing back the awareness on timber culture necessitates an education that should be taught in classroom and surrounding environment. The education for timber culture awareness can be translated into architecture in the form of educational building typology. From this, my objective is to rejuvenate timber culture in relation to construction materials by increasing the awareness through the use of Malaysia's timber as a major component in the construction industry. I think that timber should play a more vital role in our future construction projects to instill a sense of identity to our architecture. The lack of awareness should be countered with educational reintroduction to our timber culture. Our institutional buildings should also adopt the timber culture to carry our identity as Malaysians. This can have a positive impact on our environment and redirect our society towards sustainable material use, ultimately reducing the carbon footprint level in Malaysia. Based on this, I am proposing an innovative learning center as a platform to showcase a contemporary approach utilizing Malaysian timber as a future construction material. This would serve as a stepping stone to raise awareness on Malaysian timber culture. Although there are institutes already championing the awareness of timber and its use, such as the Malaysian Timber Council and Malaysian Timber Industry Board with its Krulam Gallery in Johor, it is only focusing on industry players that are already aware of the value of timber. The Innovative Learning Center, on the other hand, would bridge the gap and bring the awareness to the communities and general public. This is done through its programs and design that focuses on integrating the built and natural environment. As a place for public learning, the center would target the community of all ages with a focus on the youth in the community. The center also celebrates knowledge by providing spaces for researchers and innovators to explore the possibilities of our future. To showcase something similar, the Rolex Learning Center was developed as a hub in a France Polytechnic campus to bring its inhabitants into a singular space for learning and exchange of knowledge. The plan is devoid of walls to plan the program and facilitate interactions between the users. I believe that there is a need to develop a new timber architecture identity in this borderless age by exploring a timber-based R&I center for the public to simultaneously support innovation and promote timber culture. The center can be used as a platform to showcase the application of alternative sustainable construction materials in the form of prefabrication technology. This would have the benefit of preserving our timber architecture essence, as well as having the opportunity for infinite material application. With that being said, I wish to change the current domination of concrete in the construction market and the negative perception of timber being an unsuitable material for contemporary application. For site selection, my proposed building is to be located in a modern context, such as a city centre, and to be publicly accessible by being near a public transportation station. The public building should also be located within proximity of other education facilities, such as universities, to synergize and create a surrounding educational environment. After deliberations, I have chosen my site to be in Cyberjaya as it is a central, business-oriented, urban tech development city with the idea of future in mind. The proposed building would portray the architecture of the future in a more sustainable approach. The site is located in the central business district of Cyberjaya with a mix between enterprise and commercial zones. The site itself is designated as a commercial zone with an area of 2.6 acres. The urban elements show nodes of commercial hubs and landmarks nearby with ease of accessibility to the site. The site has a strong connectivity with major highways and railways linking to as far as Kuala Lumpur. The area within the CBD is connected by feeder bus access around the district. There are numerous amenities surrounding the site such as parks, offices, shop lots, sports centres and mosque. Several universities are dotted around Cyberjaya, creating an educational community within the area. Based on the site selection criteria, the site is located within walking distance to the Cyberjaya City Centre MRT station and is also located next to Lim Kok Wing University. It is surrounded by undeveloped lands and ongoing developments such as the MRT station and also the Cyberjaya City Centre, which is the future landmark of the area. There is also the Cyberjaya Urban Forest located across the site. The proposed site is adjacent to the secondary road called Jalan Technocrat 1/1, which in turn is linked to the primary road called Persiaran APAC. Based on the site study, the SWOT analysis shows that there are plenty of strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities to the site with minimal threat to it. The 5 toast strategy is formed from the SWOT analysis to take advantage and mitigate the site properties. The strategy is to introduce the community-based activities around the site and also promote pedestrianization. The Cyberjaya Urban Forest should be integrated by proposing a pedestrian connection to it. The program would focus on collaboration between the surrounding universities to create strong educational bond. Active measures to reduce carbon footprint level can be implemented, such as promoting pedestrian-oriented activities. To summarize the findings, the timber-based innovative learning center would need to address the surrounding site factors and form collaboration with the surrounding education facilities to ensure a successful and sustainable development.